Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 for Tuesday, February the 6th, 2024. Not going to be a very long update today because there's not a whole lot to be updating, actually. Again, by my standards, I probably would call this more of an inside day. We had a couple of really good moves, particularly right after the opening this morning, where the market pushed itself to a new, I would say, session high, and then proceeded to just go to session lows, and then spend the balance of the day just kind of bouncing back and forth between those 2 points. Now, it has done basically nothing, so I'm going to leave this right here on this hourly chart, where we still have minute 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're in minute wave 5. Still waiting for the determination. Is this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, or part of 4, or all of 4? It's yet to be determined. Is this one minuet wave 1 of 5? Minuet 2? Still to be determined. So the market is still kind of hanging out there. And since I get all of my clue and wave patterns from the market itself, I have to wait for it to kind of come in. So based on that, nothing really has changed. I still have and of the opinion that we still need one additional leg up. Now, what we're waiting is to see how strong that leg is going to be. Are we going up in a fifth wave? And if so, if we're going up within the fifth of the fifth, how strong is that going to be? If we're going up in wave 2 of a fifth, I'm going to be, wave 3 of a fifth, I'm going to be looking for that strength to be kicking in here pretty dang quick. Now, part of today, and I'm just going to open this up a little bit so we can take a look on the inside. Part of the day was the responsibility lies with NVIDIA. NVIDIA did catch a little bit of a downdraft today, along with Netflix, along with Microsoft, along with Meta, along with Amazon, AMD. So a lot of the high-flying stocks that have really brought us up to these incredible highs have started to get a little bit of profit taking done today. Now, going against that, the Dow. So it almost seems like it depends on the day, depends on the hour, it depends on what everybody's feeling is, that, either we're going to rally in the NASDAQ and we're going to go after the Dow, or we're going to rally in the Dow and the Russell, dragging up the S&P, but taking down the NASDAQ. So we're not seeing the consistency. So in that respect, it remains in a broken pattern, so to speak, because we're not seeing continuity in terms of how the markets are perceiving what should be bought, what should be sold, where we're positioning, where we're not positioning. So again, not a very clear day in terms of pinpointing any future direction or even building on what I'm already beginning to look for. So everything remains in place. And I'll be waiting at least another day to see what, if anything's going to come out. Now, what I can do, and I'm going to be adding, again, if this is wave 4, and this is wave 1, so we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, ABC 4. And this is going to be a part of a 5, which is still part of that minute wave 5. Well, then I'm going to take and I'll put my fibs back on, and to give us some type, where do we sit? So we can see that 1.618 comes right back at 49.92. But in a wave 5, I've been looking for it to at least get above the high of wave 3, if this is what it is. So our next level up, if it breaks there, is 2.618, and that's 5,024. So again, same levels. We're not really seeing a whole lot of difference being made in the market in terms of making any difference in what we're already calculating out. I don't have anything to be adding out of all of this kind of mess. It was definitively a sideways move. We did move real quick early this morning. So still, as we came in, and it's about an hour or half hour before the opening, and in fact included the opening. since this starts at 6, goes to 7 a.m. That's Pacific time, sorry. That once the market opened, they ran it up real quick. And I'm trying to, my brain's trying to go back and remember who was the guilty party and just making that strong push that early, and I can't remember. As it already had started to basically hit NVIDIA. So it may have been that right before we came in, NVIDIA was trading at 700. So they pushed it above 700. And as we got closer to the close, closer to the opening, it started to back off. And then it got hit really hard. And then this came through. Because along with that, then they started getting AMD. We saw the sellers kind of move into all of the high-flying stocks, the Mag 7 stocks, plus a few additional. And basically, I feel taking profit. So not a whole lot to be reporting. I'm still going to be looking for, as I have stated, that this is either a complete. We're looking for the minute wave 5 to complete. Or internally, we're still going to be looking for the minute wave 5 to complete. But this may be minuet wave 1. Or it could be minuet wave 3, minuet wave 4, and we're looking for minuet wave 5. So I've got a couple of interpretations that can go there. One that I will add, and this came via someone who shares duties within my trade room, and that is that, and it would be for both markets. And as we're coming up inside all of this, so for the minor fifth wave, there is that possibility that it is and I'll show to you in the NASDAQ as well, that it's going to be a diagonal, which means it's got ABC wave 1, ABC wave 2, ABC wave 3. So that would suggest that we will likely get up above 1.236, 5100. But that is out there and actually form a diagonal. So they're just kind of smaller, smaller, smaller as it kind of goes up, forming it and get itself up to there. So that's out there and a possibility. I'm not changing my count just yet, but I'm leaving it as an alternate. So moving averages, everything looks the same. Everything looks good for the moving averages right now. It's continuing to hold. Not a whole lot of activity, even bringing it down to the hourly chart. Everything's still pretty much in place. We got the 50 getting wrapped around in all this noise. Right in there. Managed to get itself back above. It broke below, got back above, closed above. We got the 8 and the 20 closing above them. So everything's still looking pretty good in that respect. Over in the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is the market that actually took it on the chin today, obviously, because of NVIDIA, Netflix, Microsoft, Meta, and Intel, Amazon, AMD, AMAT, Apple, because they finally, today was day one of their virtual reality visor or whatever, the what you wear on your face to produce this virtual reality. And so somebody was reporting that sales were good. And so they knew somebody that actually went in and spent $5,000 on their version because they had to have all the little ads. So I still am going to question the validity of sales are going to be really good and really produce this upswing in Apple based on improved earnings moving forward. Yes, there's a lot of money. There's a lot of cash still out there, but I'm not sure that that's being put into Apple products at the moment. So I'm not going to put too much weight on that. There may be an Apple trade coming up, but you can see the stock was up $1.62, trying to get itself back to 190. This is after, sinking back down below 180. So, it's coming back real quick, but Apple devotees, and we'll see, because as Apple does climb, regardless of the reason, as if Apple were to continue to rally and get itself back above 190 and then back above 195, well, that's going to add a boost to the NASDAQ. along with NVIDIA, along with the earnings that we're expecting, along plus, plus, plus. So all potential still remains in the market for a stronger move higher to complete this whole cycle. Now, here is where my colleague in my trade room was mentioning, and it's an alternate count. And I actually, in discussion today, said, no, it has validity. I don't think we can discount that the fact that this is an ABC up to here, that could be a wave one, this is an ABC down, that could be a wave two, and we're working on wave three. And so you can start to put in some trend lines, which are going to be actually diagonal. So it's going to have to be more of a diagonal. If this is wave one, you're going to connect and going this direction. If this is wave two, you're going to connect and going this direction. And then you start to see where the possibility of a diagonal could come in. Now, that actually projects at least up into this area. So we're going to see how it develops. Now, going into that, if this is wave one and we're looking at a wave three, what is all of this? So could this only be wave one? So remember, even though it's a diagonal, even though inside is that the overall pattern is threes, within it should still be at least three, if not five. So I'm beginning to call into, it should be breaking above this level pretty quickly and not looking back. See, that's going to be, this is the important thing. This is the part of the theory, or just not the theory, but just the structure that I now put in the hands of the market and say, okay, market, if indeed the intent is that we're going to start breaking higher, whatever somebody wants to attach to it, the market needs to begin to do that. What did we do today? We came flying down, which kind of puts, even if I take it from here, and this is an A, and this is a B, and this is a C, I got one big ABC flat. And of what? Is it a 4? Is it a 2? Is it a B? It's just a little bit more difficult to try to piece together. I think there's a lot of different things that we can do within here for measurements, and they all point higher, to be honest with you. So again, we have all of that to fill in. Now, if indeed I'm counting this up, and I'm counting that as a completion point, but it's likely going to shift. But right now, I don't need to shift my fibs because it did not come down and break that low. It came down and equaled it. So everything remains the same. So I will move them need be. But remember that I'm kind of looking at this in a little bit of a different way. We barely broke to a new high back here. So, but that still could be 1, 2. Yep, we got 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's only 3. A, B, C, 4. And it's a nice big old flat. Little bit. Yep, pretty much so. Maybe equaled it, got a little bit higher, possibly, but basically a big flat. And that would be still a 4. Or it's, I could do 1, 2, 3, ABC, yeah, 4, and we're still doing the fifth. Or it's a big flat 2. All right, remember what I discussed, and that the possibility is like 1 of 5. Or is this only minuet wave 1 of minute wave 5, minuet wave 2 of minute wave 5? And if that's the case, this still has some play, but I would take that off, right? And then I'm going to be adding this. And I'm going to stick it down there. That's the actual low. Not quite. This one got a little bit deeper, but we'll leave it there for right now. And now we'd be measuring if this is a 1 and this is a 2. we're measuring for a wave 3. Well, wave 3 would equal 1 at 18,115, I'm going to call it. We'll round it up. But I'm going to be looking for something a little bit more, right? Because I like to see that most often the third wave is the longest and the strongest. What the rule states, and it's a strong rule, is that wave 3 out of a 5-wave sequence cannot be the shortest wave. So right now, I'm not counting a diagonal triangle for this larger minor wave 5. So the fact that we have overlap all the way through it not necessarily applies within this count. So again, we will be looking for clues as to what actually is going on, and that may be able to give us the next clue. So we keep tabs and everything, but again, just updating our picture if indeed what we're working on, let me just bring this down a little bit and then bring it up and then bring it back down so we can see inside. So again, minuet wave 1, ABC, minuet wave 2. And it was really very nice. It was clean and it's a big old flat. And so it fits. Then what that suggests is that we're starting to launch higher in a minuet third wave. We should not have any problem breaking above and breaking there and breaking there and breaking there. We should not have any problem. 618 I wouldn't be looking for. I'm going to be looking for at least 100%. So in fact, you know, that calculation there, the 618, may provide a pause, but I'm just going to take it off because I would not expect it to stop there. As a third wave, I would not expect it to stop there. And we'll leave that for the minute fifth wave, it equals wave 1 at 17,929. That I still expect to provide some resistance. Maybe it's enough to provide resistance for a third or part of the third wave. But equality, where wave 3 would equal wave 1, and then I'm always going to be looking for a little bit more, but at least I'll be looking for something to get to 18,115. 1.618 takes us up to 18,370. Now again, what has to coincide, not necessarily has to, but what you would expect to coincide with that is they come back into NVIDIA, they start to roar it back, they buy back into Microsoft, they buy back into Meta, they buy back into AMD, and Apple catches a strong updraft, catches a strong bid, and they start pushing on Apple. And they can do that based on whatever they choose. But if we get that combination going, then yes, it should be easy to continue to break to additional highs in uncharted territory and follow the bouncing prices up according to the fibs. That's where Fibonacci ratios really do come in and shine when we're in an area that the market's never been before. So here we go. We have these levels. So let's see. Let's see what it wants to do. Again, this is a pretty clean flat. So whether this is the internals, and this is a fourth. So again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, ABC 4, and we're getting into a fifth. I'm still looking for the same thing. I'm looking for the fifth wave to kind of catch on and to start pushing to new highs. And above there, above 17,793. So I'm looking for a move above 17,800 and then some. Because my fibs now, I don't really have anything of any consequence to stop this and put a label on it until we're getting above 17,900. To bear that in mind. If this all is excuse me, if this marks that fourth wave, well, then I may. And let me go back and I'm going to double up here just for a moment. And we're just going to be looking at that. All right. So again, I am going to edit out ones that just do not apply because the market is well past them. Okay. So here we have 17,803. If that's going to be the 5, guess what? It is a new high. It is above 17,800. Barely. But that would go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, ABC4, and we eke out a 5. Now, what comes up next? Well, like we said, talked about yesterday. Well, we have for minute wave 5, 17,929. If this is minuet 4, then we have minuet 5 coming in here, but secondarily coming in at 17,954. That kind of starts to produce an acceptable little cluster because it's minute 4, minuet wave 5, excuse me, minute wave 5, minuet wave 5. We already know that on the minor degree, we're finishing 5 up, right? Because what we're looking for is to finish off the minute and now the minuet, which will in turn complete the minor. So wherever these finish, we're finishing all the way down the line. So if they continue to go, then we can start adding additional levels that coincide with. So where our next cluster would start to come in. And we can see it's going to be much higher. So that's where this 100 comes in. It's a different count. It's for the third wave. This secondary, this lower level, that's for a 5th wave. Again, we're waiting for the market to clarify. What is this structure? We didn't get a whole lot of help other than it was all corrective, and likely that correction is done. Now, one last thing I will add. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what would that suggest? It's going to be not real pretty, but it still could be A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C. Now, how do we put that one in? Well, I'll show you. I'm going to have to take that off. I'm going to take this off because we're still working on this. Of course, I could, oh, nope. I'm going to add this drawing, and it's going to be here. Nope, I got to hold on. Get rid of that. It's going to be the 3rd, all right? So it's actually got to be from there, and it's just the 4th. Or if it's here, it's going to be the wave 2. So let's try from there first. Ah, damn it. Sorry, folks. I always think I got the right button going. So even if we're in wave 2, right, we've come down 382. We've equaled it now. If we got one more down to do, then we at least still have this low, which could be met, and that is 17,554. If it continues to go, well, we got stuff in between, but the next logical stop would be 17,498 or 17,500. And right, looks like it could. 1, 2, 3, 4 could be a nice little slam dunk. So there's that possibility. So I could be adding possibilities of what we could possibly see tomorrow, while we're just biding our time until we get NVIDIA's earnings. Right? These are some of the plays that can take place. Now, I'm going to take that one off. And so that would be for a wave 2. Right? Let me leave it on there for a minute. So 1, ABC, if it's not done, 2. Then we get that 3rd. Now, if I'm going to go back, I'm going to take this off, and it's like, well, again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, ABC 4. Then we're looking inside there. And that one, I think is really going to be pushing it. All right. Still 382 though. So if we're going to drop real quick, maybe we drop back and just kind of put it super flat. Or we come in a little bit stronger and we get down closer to 17,520. Which is not all that much more than 54 for the NASDAQ. So those are all of our possibilities that we can check and keep tabs on for tomorrow. And while we wait for the market to make clear, where are we going? Are we going to break to a new high? My feeling remains yes. Both in the S&P and in the NASDAQ. My feeling is like, yes, it should. Now, what it's going to do tomorrow, we have several possibilities. It's going to either continue with this flat, I mean, again, could happen overnight. We get a flat, bringing us back down into here, or 7,500 into that hood. And then again, it's either going to be a 4, we're looking for the 5 to start, or it's going to be 1, 2, and we're looking for a 3rd to start. Both should start in the same manner, and that is a little bit of a strong surge up and off of the low. Get up and out of that low and just keep going without necessarily looking back, without it stopping and suddenly having to catch up because we have 1 or 2 components that are not going to follow the leader and move up higher. So if we get the cooperation from the components, in other words, Apple, happen to like it, they report these first day revenue or first day sales, let's say, of that visor, the reality, virtual reality visor. Well, that could bring in a fresh round of buying back into Apple. Do we see a renewal of NVIDIA heading back towards 700, but this time getting above it and staying above it? That'll pull in. We'll see a nice rally that would follow. Is Meta going to turn back around and go like, you know what, we liked it up there at 480. They're going to head back towards 480. Microsoft head back towards 412, 415. Are we going to go up and finish this move? What do we need to see? Well, we got to have the help of the component stocks all moving. Today was more consolidation than anything else. So that's the story. That's what I'm going to stick to. Again, now tomorrow, just in terms of economic data, today was kind of nothing, right? Except we had all the Fed people. Tomorrow, we have the U.S. trade deficit. And then we have 4 Fed governors, president out talking starting at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have 4 Fed officials out talking on the stump. So at 8:30, we have U.S. trade deficit, and that's basically it. 3 p.m. consumer credit, which we already know, should be pretty high. I'm reading that, consumers are booking it on credit cards, and it's a lot of money from last I saw. So again, only thing major is U.S. trade deficit, and that comes about before the opening. And then Thursday, initial jobless claims, wholesale inventories. It's kind of a light week for economic. It's next week where we get CPI. And that's it. We're back to separating CPI and PPI by a week. Interesting. Okay, so that is where I am going to complete it. And the next update will be on Wednesday, February the 7th.